stuff done, I said they cleared the ring.
You told him I don't have nothing but a prayer. Well, chump, all I need is a prayer, because if that prayer reached the right man, not only will George Foreman fall, but mountains will fall. And you're always talking about Muhammad, you're not the same man you were 10 years ago. Well, I asked your wife, and she told me you're not the same man you were 2 years ago. Fight for the prestige, not for me, but to uplift my little brothers who are sleeping in concrete floors today in America, so I can help a lot of people. Ali, oh my God. Oh, when I hear them brothers holler like that, woo, I'm gonna get my soul and my spirit. 100,000 African brothers hollering Ali, oh my God, and I'm gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. Ali, oh my God, Ali, Ali. Don't tell me that ain't a perfect specimen of a man. Look at that body. Slim, trim, and on my toes. Oh, I'm on my toes now. Can I dance? Is the Pope a Catholic? Sucker, look at you. You out, sucker.
In the studio now, we are talking about the late, great Muhammad Ali, who passed away at the age of 74 years old. In the studio, one of our very own here in Atlanta. And I was first introduced to the Ali family through this man right here, Yahya, who's in the studio with me. What's up, partner?
What's happening, man?
You know, it's interesting. You were married to Layla Ali.
Yes, sir.
And when we first met, we met while you were married to Layla. And you've been involved with the Ali family even before you were married with Layla.
Yes, sir. You know, I've been a fan of Ali my whole life. This is the first time in my life that there's life with no Muhammad Ali for me.
Wow.
I don't know life without Muhammad Ali. And I'm 10 years older than Layla. I started boxing when I was 10, but I was a Muhammad Ali fan before I started boxing. So I was a fan of Muhammad's before I ever met Layla.
So tell me, in your association with the Ali family, what do you remember most about Muhammad Ali?
That he was just a regular guy. I mean, he and I had a very unique relationship because, you know, we're both Muslim and we're both fighters. And, you know, we just really got along well. So
right.
I would be able to talk to him in a way that a lot of people couldn't.
Okay.
You know, and he would just keep it 100 with me.
What did he say to you when you were going to be married to his daughter?
Well, actually, and it was the greatest phone call ever. The greatest came from the greatest. One day I got a call. Muhammad said, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Wa alaikum assalam." He said, "Man, you got to make that thing right in the eyes of Allah." I said, "Well, what you talking about?" He said, "You over there living with my daughter in sin. You got to make that thing right. You got to marry that woman." And that was his blessing. And we had already been planning to get married.
Wow.
But, you know, to get the call from the champ to marry his daughter was something.
You know, in your association with Muhammad Ali, how did he feel knowing that this time would come? Because they've said on the news that he actually planned his funeral. So he's known how he wanted to see this thing laid out. It's not family arguing. It's not a lot of craziness. It's already been set out. Everything's already written how it's going to go. Well, he knew it. How did he feel about that?
Well, he's always said that we all have disappointment. We can't be late. We can't be early. When we go, it's going to be that time. And he wanted to reach. So he used his boxing career to help build him into this person that he is today, so that he could spread his news and his word, the word of God about Islam and peace and all these great humanitarian things that he wanted to do. He wanted to spread them across the world. And the latter part of his life, he would always say, "I'm preparing to get ready to go home to God, go back to Allah." So that was his thing. He was ready, he was focused, and he would tell tell all of us that there's life after life on earth.
Right.
And he'd take a match and he said, "You ever been burned with a match?" I said, "Yeah." "How you want to feel that forever? That's what it's like going to hell. You don't want that." So he was just focused on, making sure that he got his spot in heaven.
Was he happy?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think he was very happy.
What, do you think he felt blessed?
He admitted that. I mean, he told me a lot of times, "Man, don't feel sorry for me. I lived a great life. I go anywhere in the world and people stop. kids come up, I kiss the babies and hug the women and shake the man's hand, and I can go anywhere in the world. What other man do you know was able to go over to Iraq, have a conversation, and free the hostages? I'd say he was blessed.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in, bro.
Hey, anytime, man.
Appreciate you. We have another very special guest we're going to talk to in a moment. My good friend, Mayor Bill Campbell, is here. How are you, sir?
Frank, it's always good to see you.
It's always good to see you, too. I want to talk to you when we come back about something very interesting, because during the Olympics, you were the mayor of Atlanta.
That's correct.
And there was some major controversy on whether Ali was going to carry that torch.
Absolutely.
And I want to talk about that firsthand from the mayor that was here about that controversy, if you don't mind, when we come back.
I look forward to it, Frank.
Okay, listen, we are talking about a very serious subject, the one and only Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, of course, his funeral will happen this Friday. There will be a private family funeral first, and then a public funeral with a procession through town. And they will have a very public funeral with 20,000 people at the funeral. It will be live streamed. We'll give you all that information as to when that goes down. Probably one of the most prolific athletes in history, the one and only Muhammad Ali. And in the studio right now, I've got Mayor Bill Campbell, who was mayor at the time of the Summer Olympics when they came here to Atlanta. Mayor Campbell, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great, Frank. And, it's really a remarkable career, a remarkable life.
Right.
And I think if you were to search through our lifetime, there have been just very few figures that have had this kind of impact across sports and politics and religion as Muhammad Ali. My history with him goes back. I used to watch the fights with my father, the Gillette fights.
Wow.
We used to watch them. And so when Ali fought in Miami in '64, we listened to it on the radio. Like the old days. I mean, you're younger, but the old days when people used to listen to fights on the radio. And so we listened to the fight. Then when Ali was stripped of his title, he was on a speaking tour to college campuses. And so I went to Shaw University in 1968. I was 15 years old and heard Ali speak about the war and his religion and having been stripped of his title. And it was just cathartic. It was just remarkable. And I had a chance to go up and shake his hand. And then, of course, later I had a chance to meet him and spend a lot of time with him here in Atlanta. He was just a remarkable figure, and he really transcended sports, transcended religion, and he was so much a part of the ethos of the time that if you think about now, many of the people who celebrate him and who write wonderful commentary about him hated Ali when he was stripped of the title. When he refused to go into the military and said, I have no quarrel with the Viet Cong, let me tell you something. You could have found only a handful of people that supported Muhammad Ali at that time. But he stood up for his beliefs. He was proud. He was unapologetic. And he was pro-black. And he brought a real sense of courage to his beliefs. Imagine the athletes that we know today. You lose 3 years of your prime time in your profession, your earnings, your career, and yet he never backed down. Not once did you ever hear him say, I regretted that move to not go into the military. And then to have a chance later in life, Frank, to meet him and spend time with him. And we had dinner a number of times. His photographer, Howard Bingham, who really was his companion forever. We had a chance to spend a lot of time with Ali. It was just a magical opportunity.
Let me ask you a question. Let's back up for a minute. Mayor Bill Campbell is our special guest on the Ryan Cameron Morning Show with Wanda Smith. I'm Frank Ski sitting in. People will say, and I've studied this for a while now, and especially going through Leadership Atlanta and other organizations, they will tell you the pivotal turnaround point for the city of Atlanta was the Olympics coming to this city.
Absolutely, no doubt.
It changed
everything. It changed. Not only did it change everything, the funny thing about Atlanta, first of all, Atlanta was a great city before the games, but not an internationally known city.
Okay.
And the games coming just brought this international spotlight. And I think when you look at what Mayor Andy Young did in helping to bring the games, his careening the vote, getting the votes from the African countries to allow Atlanta to host the games, because Athens, Greece was a sentimental favorite. and Atlanta was a big upset winner. And it really brought so much. Oh, absolutely. You may not. The games started back in 1896 in Athens, Greece. And so 1996 was the Centennial Olympic Games, and Athens, Greece was a centennial favorite for hosting the games.
Wow.
And you may remember when Juan Antonio Samrach began his award the 1996 games, and everybody thought he was saying Athens, but he said Atlanta. And there was just this incredible jubilation from the people of Atlanta, because we realized no American city had hosted the games since Los Angeles, and no southern city had ever hosted the Olympic Games.
And this new city like Atlanta.
Atlanta is really the new South.
Right.
And so for us to have the opportunity to host the Centennial Olympic Games, it was a magical moment in 90 when it was announced in September. And then when we had the games come to Atlanta in 96, it was extraordinary. All of the changes that happened in Atlanta, the acclaim that happened for Atlanta, and then the games themselves, the largest games, the most women athletes. It was just an incredible opportunity for us.
Now, one of the obviously most important pieces is the lighting of the torch. And historically, that image of Muhammad Ali lighting the torch will go down in history as one of the greatest times.
Look, Frank, you and I are sports guys, right? We love sports. I've been watching sports all my life. The two iconic moments in Olympic history are Jesse Owens winning in 1932 with Hitler in the stands, and Ali lighting the torch in Atlanta in 1996. Those are the moments that really speak so much about where you were and what you were feeling and what you thought about the moment. And Ali overcoming Parkinson's and his entire life arc of standing up against the war and embracing Islam at a time when nobody even knew what Islam really represented around the world. And then to stand there and light the torch in Atlanta, an African-American city, the Centennial Olympic Games, where Dr. King was born and the civil rights movement sprung from the loins of Atlanta, more black colleges and universities than anywhere else in the world. It just was all about the moment. And Ali did it, and it really... Today, if you ask people about the 1996 Olympics,
that's
or about
what they
the Olympics,
remember.
They remember Ali lighting the torch.
Let me ask you this real quick, while we have a few moments left. I read an article in the Washington Post that there was some controversy about Ali lighting the torch. The article indicated that the favorite person to do it was Evander Holyfield.
A hometown hero.
They wanted Evander Holyfield to light the torch. And many people said, well, don't let Ali do it. It would be a bad representation. He was a draft dodger. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, I read the article, Frank, this weekend and was stunned, quite frankly, because for so long, I think all of us understood that the impetus for bringing Ali as the person who was going to light the torch came from the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games. And instead, according to the article, it was Dick Ebersol, who was the head of NBC Sports, who really was the deciding factor and the person who pushed for Ali. And I think that speaks to the fact that outside of the South, the white South, Ali was revered around the world. And no one in 1996 that I know of thought of Ali as a draft dodger. I thought of Ali as a man of incredible courage. So I think for Dick Ebersol, so much credit goes to him for having captured the moment and having captured the man and understood that this was the iconic way for us to celebrate his life and the life of the Olympic Games.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Bill Campbell on the Frank Ski Show. Thank you for so much insight, my friend.
Well, it's always glad to have you back in Atlanta, Frank.
Thank you very much. And Yahya, thank you very much for coming in today, my brother. I appreciate you as well, man.
Thank you. Thank you for
All right. It is 8:52. We're 8 minutes away from 9.